Hello, this is Paul with the Oaken Knight. Welcome back for turn 4 of our playthrough of GMT's Holland 44. Since we're 3 turns in, I think it might be useful just to take a quick look at where we are, give some highlights as far as status. If we look over to the west, we see that the 50th Infantry Division is on the flank of the advance. We're sealing off Germans in Zone A. Starting turn 7, the Germans will have to leave there because they will no longer be allowed to occupy Zone A. And the Germans are building up in Zone B. Actually, what they're doing is they're retreating off the map to get out of there, but they will re-enter and put some pressure on the 101st. Over here on the east, we see the Germans falling back as quickly as they can in front of the 3rd Infantry. They're getting pushed back. Here's the Guards' armor. They are going to be applying some pressure pretty soon. But their main effort for the armor, the Guards' armor, is going to be taking Eindhoven, which we see here. They're now on the outskirts of town, and the 101st, elements of the 101st actually have captured the north side of town. So Eindhoven is in the process of being taken. As we continue north, we see that the 101st has established a perimeter to protect themselves and to keep the road open to the British in preparation of them coming through the 30th Corps. As we go east from that point, there's really not much there, just some screening units, nothing serious on either side. Continuing over to the 82nd zone, we see that the Grave River Bridge has been taken and is being held. We also see the elements of the German army from the 406 Infantry Division coming in through the woods, trying to get established, but there's still not enough of them to do much. They may do some damage, but I don't think they're going to do too much more than that until they start getting more serious reinforcements. In Nijmegen, we can see that the SS has moved in. They've established. They've brought in two units to reinforce what's already there. The question mark units have been pretty much rooted out of the south side of town. As far as the bridgeheads, the Allies have finally gotten a bridgehead over the canal leading into Nijmegen, which means they do have a complete set of bridges running from 30 Corps' current position around Eindhoven all the way to Nijmegen. The Saône River Bridge did blow up, but they have established a suitable alternative which they can use to push forward. The Germans are bringing small units onto the island, and they're going to continue to reinforce Nijmegen and probably put some screening forces farther west along the river, so that the Allies don't sneak across any ferries or other bridges that may be there. Going on to Arnhem, we see Colonel Frost has taken the Arnhem Bridge, or at least one end of it, as he did historically. Although he's already taken a hit, and I think that's going to be trouble for him going forward. I think once the Germans get their artillery and start putting on some real pressure there, that I don't know how long they're going to be able to hold. And the rest of the British Airborne is holding a solid perimeter. They're not under a whole lot of pressure as yet, but in time this will change as well. Okay, that's a quick overview of status. We can go ahead and begin the turn proper. Turn 4. We currently have 3 bridges near in the 30 Corps zone that were blown at the beginning of the game. They started the game blown, and because the Germans have been pushed back far enough at this point, with at least 4 intervening hexes between the nearest German unit to the bridges, we were able to begin reconstruction last turn, and this turn we can complete the reconstruction by taking off the construction markers and putting on capture markers. We'll go ahead and take care of that right now. Completing the repairs of the 3 bridges that were being reconstructed, we can move on to the Allied air landing phase. Now that we are into the second wave of airdrops that began on the third turn of the game, we are no longer restricted to landing on the specific airdrop hexes, but rather we can land in a one hex radius of those hexes. We have 3 units to bring in, all of which are with the 101st, all of which are scheduled for landing zone Charlie, C. So I'm going to go ahead and place those. They can be placed within 1 hex of landing zone C. All 3 units have landed in good order. They would be these 3 guys here, the artillery piece plus 2 others. Nothing scattered, nothing lost any steps, so they're all good to go for the coming turn. The next phase will be the movement phase for turn 4 for the Allies. I'm going to drop offline and move some pieces and come back and show you what we did. I began by moving the flankers in the 30th Corps area, in particular just continuing to move up this 3rd Infantry Division to keep pressure on the flank. There is some possibility the German would want to play some games by re-entering a unit behind the British lines. That could be a problem, although this zone closes down in 2 more turns, and under the circumstances I think most German players would want to just continue to pull back, because the canal at the river line and the canal that they're going to fall back to is a much better position, and they need some decent units back there rather than throw them away trying to cause problems running around in the hinterlands. And we continued over on the other side by continuing to seal off Zone A. We need to do that for another turn or 2, and then we were going to start moving the 50th Division over to Zone B, which is attracting a lot of reinforcements at the moment. I have not done anything with the Guards armor and other nearby units, and so I think we'll go ahead and take a look at them. One thing that's noteworthy is the reinforcements. This would be the 11th armor. Yes, the 11th armor. They've got some decisions to make. I'm sure the Guards armor would be very happy to have them come along, but in my thinking that they're going to be needed. They're going to be needed down here to make any serious effort to get across this canal and then get deeper in to get the other victory cities that are available farther on down. So my plan is going to be to take these guys and to run them down the roads to start putting even more pressure on the line that's falling back towards the canal, and relieve the Guards armor so they can continue to push forward over to Eindhoven and beyond. So that's what I'm going to do, and I will come back after I have got that done. All right, we've completed moving the 30th Corps area, and really some pretty amazing things happened. It was a good turn for the British with their moves. Well, first we surrounded the units that are left in Eindhoven, with the 82nd having taken out the question mark unit in this hex with a A1D1 result. So it cost a step, but Eindhoven, I think after the combat phase, is going to be entirely in Allied hands. In the meantime, we cordoned off the area by moving an 82nd unit over here, so at least we're going to have some Zocs over here in case the Germans try to come in the back door. And we also have a unit of the Guards Division getting ready to cross the river obstacle that we managed to get an intact bridge over. Going over this way, this is where some cool stuff happened, because this bridge was discovered intact, and we were able to use that bridge to get units across over to these bridges, which were also discovered intact. We took out a question mark unit here with a over the river 1-to-1 attack where we rolled a 6 and eliminated them at no cost. That was kind of cool. We sent a recon unit buzzing over here to really start pushing forward, and we captured another bridge here, sent an armored unit across it. So all very, very good news. We have the core armor unit that is pushed all the way up to a victory city. We know there is a very weak unit in there and a question mark unit. So the question is, should we go ahead and try to force the issue with an immediate attack? I'm going to think that over and see what I come up with. Now I'm going to take care of moving the other areas and get back in a minute. In the 101st zone, we can see that there's some mustering for an attack over here with the newly dropped reinforcements. And we've taken a replacement point for a guy that had been damaged earlier. So that's really about all they're doing. Moving over to the 82nd Airborne area, we see that there's been a concentration near Nijmegen, so there's going to be an attack coming there, no doubt, and which has to be done pretty soon if they're going to have a chance of kicking them out, because after turn 5, if the Airborne is not linked up with 30 Corps, then their supplies are considered to be depleted, and they have to attack at half strength until they get reconnected up to the 30th Corps. So it's kind of now or never, although 30th Corps is making good progress. So this was a great turn for them. Moving over to the first para. We had one guy go ahead and take a replacement point. Some minor shuffling, but really not much going on. I think they're hunkering in to defend. I don't believe they're going to be able to dislodge these guys to move. To link up with Colonel Frost at Arnhem Bridge, and it's going to come down to a kind of a historical slog between shrinking the airborne perimeter in one area and pummeling the British by the Arnhem Bridge on the other. All right, that's the British move. I'm going to set up the attacks, and we will show you that in a sec. Only 3 attacks this turn. This was a big movement turn, pretty much. We had some nice breakthroughs, and what attacks there are kind of in the way of cleanup, at least back in 30th Corps. We've got a 7-1 on what's left inside of Eindhoven. So let's go ahead and see if there's any losses then on the friendly side. DMR, nope. They're going to die right there. All right, DMR is a nasty result for the Germans in that it's a forced retreat and no determined defense is possible. Since the units are surrounded, they die in place. So these guys all go away, and the British 30 Corps takes over Eindhoven. It's completely captured at this point. So we're gonna advance 1, 2, 3 down the road. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go here. He strings out. And other guys are going to go in the city in preparation to be on the road to advance next turn. All right, we have the expected attack over here with the 101st with some artillery support, and it's going to be a 4-1. 2, DR. In this case, I don't think there's any reason to fight for this hex. He's just going to retreat as 2, get disrupted, and allow the 101st to enter the hex. And there 2. And finally, we have the attack in Nijmegen. It's 12 points on 12 points. We got a quality shift, and we have a artillery piece firing, making it a 3-1 attack. Here goes. 2. 2-1 is 3-1 with a 2 is an exchange, which, well, that may be okay. The U.S. gets to pick which unit takes the hit. I'm not sure it matters. Well, in theory, the SS is a little bit stronger, so fine. We'll take the hit on the SS, eliminate this guy, and we got to take a hit on the American side. That's fine. And that's it. With the exchange, there's no retreat requirement. They don't. The Germans do not have to roll to see if they stay. They simply stay. All right, that's it for the American attacks, or the Allied attacks. We've got the recovery phase where I'm going to pick up the utility markers, supplies, and everybody's in supply, and that will conclude the Allied half of the turn. So let me take care of that, and then we can continue on with the Germans. Well, it turns out the Germans have nothing to do until they get to their own movement phase, so I'm going to take care of that. The Germans continue to withdraw back to the canal, and where they hope to stabilize their line once again. Right now, probably the biggest problem they have is Helmond, because it's still weakly held, and they were not able to get any reinforcements into the city. So the Allies have another turn to get forces there and to possibly do an attack. On the western side of the board, the Germans have restabilized their line by Zone B, where the 101st just pushed them back a little bit. So they hope to hold that and possibly start an attack. They did have an artillery unit show up. They may be able to put it to use next turn. Other than replacing the unit that was lost in Nijmegen, all the Germans did in the 82nd Airborne area is to bring up some reinforcements to replace the guy that was lost. And they continue to shuttle people over the ferry so that they can continue to take losses and make good on them. In the first parazone, the main thing is that it looks like there's going to be an attack over here, and we'll see what that does once I figure out what the odds are. The Germans are starting to concentrate some forces, and they are starting to be able to do some attacking. We see that we're in the 406 zone near Nijmegen. They've been able to pull together some forces with an artillery barrage to get a 3-1 on the 82nd Airborne. Now, this is an example of the poor quality of these troops not affecting their attack ability. It only affects their defense, and the eliteness of the 82nd doesn't help them on defense. So this is how the Germans are able to root out the 1st Para Airborne Division, because their eliteness does not help them on defense. All right, so we got a 3-1, and let's see how we do. Oh, a 1. All this waiting for doing an attack, and what do? They roll a 1. They get an engaged result, which is a pretty useless result for the Germans. Let me go ahead and put the marker on, and we'll move over to the 1st Para area. Again, by concentrating their forces that have been coming in at a steady dribble, the Germans are finally able to mount an attack on the 1st Para. So adding it up, we have a 4-1 attack against the Para unit in the woods. Roll to 4. 4. That would be an A1D1 result. So we're starting to whittle the British. So let's do this. So we can take a hit there, and let's just take this guy out. He's a low quality guy. Get rid of him. Okay. Again, with an exchange with A1D1. So there's a possible retreat. In fact, he will retreat unless he wants to roll forward. I guess he's going to retreat. So he's going to go back 2. The Germans are finally going to do an advance. Advance. Let's just throw it there. Okay. So now the German attack phase is done. Combat phase is done. We take off all of the status markers, and we simply have to do the traffic. We have 3 units to put to place, and we have a lot of British tanks running amok, so we have to start putting these down. Well, obvious place is first one is going to be in Eindhoven. Let's put it right in town. Then let's put one. We have a bridge over here. I think it's good to put these traffic markers at traffic bottlenecks by the bridges. Third one. Well, I guess we want to continue to cause Hell's Highway problems. I'm gonna say let's just put one by this bridge over here. They're gonna want to cross that one sooner or later, so let's go ahead and get one there. All right, now we roll to see which ones we pick up. We rolled a 6 and a 2, so well. One of the ones that's way over by the original entry area picks up, and let's see, a 6. Oh, that would be the guy that we just placed out here picks up. Alrighty, with that, that's the end of turn number 4, and so we will go ahead and continue doing turns until we get tired. This is Paul with the Oaken Knight. I want to thank you for sticking with me, and if you can, please hit the subscriber button if you have not already done so. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.